It's actually parents or buyers actually look into schools very often these days.
Right.
If it sits within the 1 km range, especially for good schools like Rosyth and Xinmin, right? This will be very attractive for.
But all schools are good schools.
Yeah, which is why the location.
So two good schools.
Yeah,
within
one of
1 km.
the, I would say, when it comes to reselling a unit, right?
Yes.
One of the top factors.
More popular schools.
All the
Definitely,
top
definitely.
factors that affect the buying decision and also
Yes.
how the prices move are actually schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Welcome to another episode of Avenue 88 Podcast. So today we'll continue where we stopped. Why did 100 Pumps perform so well? And will there be another repeat success like 100 Pumps? So just in case if you missed out our part 1, we have included the podcast link below. Okay, so here comes the golden question. Why did 100 Pumps perform so well?
Okay, so now let's talk about the incredible story of 100 Palms and why it's absolutely crushing it in the EC market. So once you see all the pieces that come together, you'll actually understand why this place is such a gem. So first up, the location. It's right next to some amazing schools like Rosyth and Xinmin, and with Rosyth being just within 1 km away, which is like maybe a 6-minute walk. It's actually a lot of convenience for a lot of parents.
Yes, actually parents or buyers actually look into schools very often these days.
Right.
If it sits within the 1 km range, especially for good schools like Rosyth and Xinmin, right? This will be very attractive for.
But all schools are good schools.
Yeah, which is why the location.
So there are two good schools.
Yeah,
within
one
1
of
km.
the, I would say, when it comes to reselling a unit, right?
Yes.
One of the top
More
factors.
popular schools.
All the
Definitely,
top factors
definitely.
that affect the buying decision and also
Yes.
how the prices move are actually schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I think what's more is also more than just school. You can actually walk to the future Cross Island Line, Serangoon North Station in under like 6 minutes. So while that's going to happen in 2029, this timeline actually isn't an issue for 100 Palms buyers, as the MRT station will be up and running by the time the project reaches full privatization. So that's going to be a total game changer for getting around Singapore when it comes to convenience lah. Another interesting fact about 100 Palms is that it's basically one of a kind in Hougang because they haven't built any new ECs since then. So the project is considered very unique in that area, and when you're the only show in town, your property value naturally goes up. So it's supply and
Agree.
demand.
Yeah, so in fact, surrounding 100 Pumps, like what Phoebe mentioned, there's no ECs. We only have Region View that's right next door. This is completed in year 2000. And the newer ones like Florence Residences and Affinity and Serangoon. And there's one more, I'm not sure whether I get the pronunciation correct. This is Terrace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
surrounding it, no ECs, only have private condominiums. That makes it very unique.
Yes.
Yeah. And just to recap from the first segment, actually all the buyers got a sweet deal back in 2017. The price was so good that they could just jump in without breaking the bank. And what we're talking about is actually about $800 PSF. So
Yeah,
that's a
800
really
plus
good
lah.
price. 800
Yeah.
plus, yeah. So you put it all together, you've got awesome location, new MRT line coming up, no other ECs around the area, and an amazing starting line. It's really no wonder that 100 Palms is killing it in the property market.
Yes.
It's like everything came together perfectly to create this project. Right. So even for future buyers, nothing to worry. With 100 Palms hitting all the major criteria for a good project, you can still expect to reap all the benefits of the project. So I think it's something that we shouldn't hesitate to jump into.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and some of you might be wondering, like, so who's really drawn to 100 Palms and like why is it such a hot spot today? So our typical buyers are predominantly young families and upgraders looking for the next dream home. So what really drives their decision comes to 3 key factors. Yeah. So the first one is education, as we talked about earlier. It's a huge priority. So parents are attracted by the excellent school options in the area. Plus, many buyers are actually planning for families' future, so having the extra space to grow is crucial.
Especially for HDB upgraders that
Yes,
are actually
especially
profiting from
for
their HDB BTOs, then they want to do an upgrade. At the same time, they want to be near to schools for their young families.
Agree.
Yeah, and speaking of just not just the school space is also an important thing here. The layout is something special for 100 Palms. So the units are thoughtfully planned with very efficient layouts and that maximize every square foot. So there's no wasted space with long corridors, and some lucky residents actually get to enjoy unobstructed views. Yeah. So another thing that I think makes 100 Palms truly special is the strong sense of community being in a Heartlander area. So the development has cultivated a wonderfully family-centric environment where neighbours can become friends, children have playmates, and it's just more than a place to live, I think. Yeah, it's a place to really belong.
Yeah, I would say the location is very ideal because it actually is actually sitting in a matured I would say a mature estates. Amenities are already around the area,
Yeah.
and you're not so far from Hougang Central, the bus interchange, and MRT station as well. Despite the new, aside from the new MRT line that's coming up,
Yep.
Hougang MRT is still fairly accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
very
few bus stops
accessible.
away. No?
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. So we will be jumping into our next EC, whether there's any identify any EC that will overtake 100 pumps. So I have a real case study
Right.
that is for tenant at Tampines. So for tenant at Tampines, it was launched in December 2022. All right. So I brought my clients to view the show flat, and we saw this potential, and then we went into balloting. We put into our deposit and get the queue number, and eventually, because they are a second timer, so they actually stay in the HDB, and they managed to get a very good queue number as well for their balloting of
So
a
they are
second
the
timer.
less than 30% on day one.
Yeah, correct. And
nice.
they are super lucky, and they in fact managed to get the ideal unit that they wanted, which is a 3-bedroom plus study that is
Okay.
about
Oh, it's good
980
size,
square
yeah.
feet. Yeah. So looking at this price right now, recently I just did a check for them. They bought this unit at actually 1.35 million. That is about 1,379 PSF.
Mm.
So recently I just checked the recent transactions. There are record transaction prices now. So there was one unit on the 14th floor sold at 1,600
Yes.
PSF.
I believe that one is a bounce out unit from the developer because
Yes.
actually tenant already fully sold.
Yes.
So right now this recent transaction is because there's like what we mentioned earlier on in part 1, right? Is that it's a bounce out unit now from developer.
Correct. So we actually saw quite a few bounce out unit and was transacted in 2024. So this was the highest per square foot so far, and it's also a similar size of 980 square feet. Yeah. So I also did a check recently to help them see what is their estimated valuation right now.
Yeah.
So looking at the indicative valuation, the unit is currently healthily standing at a profit of 250,000 just within 28 months.
Wow. That
Yeah.
means they
Like
even haven't
2
collect
years plus,
2 years plus.
Yeah.
So the unit haven't even TOP yet. They
Yeah.
already they already make a profit out of it.
Exactly.
Wow.
So this is actually the upcoming 100 pumps set part 2, right? So let's just discuss more about the upcoming EC, that whether it might replicate the same story for 100 pumps success. So so for this in the west side, right, we know that Coppin Grand was launched in 2022.
Yes.
So over here in Tengah, there are quite a few plots of land that was catered for EC.
Yes.
And there are a total of 5 in fact. So Coppin Grand launched in 2022 and it was fully sold. And the average per square foot was 1,633 PSF.
That's the one near the future ACS, right?
Yes, but that will be in 2030.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So everyone's preparing for that.
Correct. And in
Yes.
fact, not just Coppin Grand, but the other 2 projects, which is also within 1 kilometer, is Lumina Grand and also Altora. Yeah. So these 2 projects is also within 1 kilometer
Of ACS.
of ACS.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. I need to jump in. So ACS actually now becomes a mixed school instead of just a boys' school.
It's
Do you all
even
know?
better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Even
yeah,
better.
yeah.
So
I think
open
I
to
know.
yeah.
All genders now.
All genders. Yes.
All right. So we are looking into the upcoming new EC that will be launched, and there will be a preview in July 2025. So that is another two months from now.
Wow.
So we are looking at about 600 units there, starting from a 3-bedroom.
What's the name of this new EC?
The name is called Auto. Yeah.
So we already have 4 ECs that are launched in this new township in Tengah. Then the upcoming one, the 5th one, Auto, that's going to be launched very soon already.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, if you look at the previously launched EC, right, they are either fully sold or they are all over 90% sold. So actually,
yeah.
there are very high demand in that location.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. We actually did a study, right? Over in Tengah, there are about 30,000 new BTOs that
I
is planned
see.
for that town.
Yeah.
And 18,000 has already launched
Right.
since 2018.
Yeah, I've been
Right.
to Tengah to visit my cousin, and really the whole patch there is all like HDB.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all like infrastructure jungle,
So potentially there will be upgraders and this will attract the
Yeah, this will be the exit plan for the EC homeowners.
Yes,
Many
correct.
of them.
Yeah, and this is
exactly.
also something like the new township, like back then where we saw in Punggol and Sengkang.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So we also do a deep dive and to check on their recent ECGLS standard.
Okay.
All right, and to study whether the developer actually launched or purchased it at a good price. Right. So there are the 3 new land that is also been closed for
Right.
by our government land tender. So the first one is Otto. So we look at the so they purchase it at 701 PSF. That
Right.
is about 10.4% premium higher than the last bidder. So in short is that this is a very healthy number. And we are looking at the launch price between 1,450 to 1,550 PSF.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is still a good time to enter. Followed by Jalan Loyang Besar. So this is a new EC that was, I think, this is the first EC in that area. So this is this is the first EC after 12 years. Sorry, this
Yes.
is the first EC after 12 years
Right.
in Loyang.
in
In
Loyang
Loyang.
area.
Yes.
Yeah. So the per square foot that developer purchased was at 729 PSF. That is about 27% higher than the last bidder.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see that the developer is actually very hungry and they can see the
Yeah.
strong demand for EC.
Right.
And
Yeah,
hence
they
they
are
are
very
willing to-
bullish about this, right?
Exactly. So they are very confident and they are willing to put out a very good, strong bid
Yes.
for that. So we are looking at the launch price somewhere around 1,650 to 1,700
Yes.
PSF. Yeah, and the last project that is very highly anticipated because it's like a second to Oreo. So
Yes.
it's at Tampines Street 95. Okay, this will be likely launching in next year, first quarter 2026.
Right.
Okay, and this project, right, is actually about 9.2% higher than the last bidder.
Also,
So-
they bid quite close.
It is just
Yeah.
next to the integrated
Yes.
project that will
Okay.
be launched also over there. Yeah.
So why do you say this is like a repeat to the Oreo? Right?
Yeah, because when we look at the past, all the ECs, right, and we look at the comparison here, so you can see that over here, I'm comparing in the east side alone. For all the project comparison, we are looking at all the 500-meter walk to MRT, whether is it within 500 meter to integrated hub or shopping mall and all this, etc. And the important thing is also schools. Yeah. One important thing is that we have to look at what are the projects comparison and which project actually tick the box.
Yes.
Yeah, tick the boxes. So you can see that for Tenet itself, actually tick all the boxes out of
A1.
potential sea view.
A-star.
Yes.
Yeah, so they are the A-star project for the East area.
Right.
So
And
to
look-
elaborate more about what Louis mentioned about the checking of boxes is that for Tenet, it's actually close to MRT station, it's close to an integrated hub, it's close to shopping mall, future shopping malls, it's close to primary schools, and there are upgraded demands.
Yes,
So this for Tenet, it actually checks all the boxes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, in the west side, right, we also see there are basically for more projects there, and Coppen Grand is also the A-star project in the west.
A-star.
And you can see that they have
star.
all the boxes tick for this project. So our final recommendation is that when we look into the project itself, whether in the east or in the west, we look at what is the proximity to all the MOP upgraders,
Clusters, yes.
all the HDB upgraders
Right.
that is going to be MOP, and also the reasonable launch price versus the future launch price. And also whether the bonuses like MRT, shopping mall, and the primary school that we discussed, these are all icing on the cake.
Agree.
Yeah, so buyers who miss out on 100 pumps, they don't have to wait so long because the EC is coming out. And of course, if you are looking into the next EC upgrading, you can always look for us and we will be able to recommend you the next EC that will be performing as good as this.
Okay, so then now I need to ask you all one question. Okay, so if you had to invest into one EC right now, which one will you all choose? And then the reason behind this.
Are you talking about like resale or like to launch?
So I think my pick will be on the new launch, easier to understand. Yeah.
I think my take will be for Tampines, because
Yes.
I think for those at Tampines, you get almost everything like what Louise mentioned, checking all the boxes, and there's a good pool of supply
Yes.
of HDB upgraders over there.
Yes.
So a lot of buyers, they are always asking what's the exit strategy after 5 years. If I were to stay put with my EC, or should if I were to sell, who are my potential buyer? So obviously we need to have a growth story, and also
Yes.
we need to have a healthy supply of upgraders who are coming in to buy the resale ECs
Yeah.
right after. So for me, I think my preference is still with Tampines, because east side, west side. So no offense to the west side, but for Tengah is a relatively new township. So for new township, there's a lot to be proven, which I think in the next few years' time, we will see how generally the BTOs they are going to perform, and also
Right.
for the ECs, how they are going to perform in the resale market.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, I will choose certainly in the east side as well, because
Okay.
it's a more mature estate,
Right.
where I think there are larger different crowds also. But at the same time, there are already established shopping malls around there, so you can easily go for grocery shop,
Yes.
buying stuff around that area, and schools are also around already established. So that is why I choose the east side.
Okay, I think actually I'm not very familiar with either the east or the extreme west, but apparently all ECs
Yeah,
are
the
around
central
there.
girl lah.
Yeah. So they have to choose. I'll probably still end up choosing Tampines Street 95 as the latest new launch, because
Yeah.
auto different lah. Yeah, west
Okay.
side is a bit too new. Yeah, so
Agree.
same as what they say, and
Okay.
also I think not just the HDB upgraders from like after MOP, but even those who have stayed there for a long time, seeing that there are new opportunities, they could jump in.
Yes.
Same estate, you see, so they're
Yeah.
familiar with the estate, but yet they can get new facilities in
Yeah.
a new place. Maybe that will interest them. So
Agree. So personally, I'm very tempted to choose the east side also, which is the Tampines side, because it is going to be a repeat success like the Aurea, because of the integrated project next to it.
Yeah,
Right?
That's right.
Likely the integrated project will give you a high price, and then it will benchmark at maybe
A
2,
new
3
PSF.
plus, new high, right? So when you are only launching at 1,008, so again there will be another $500-$600 PSF gap for the Tampines project. Yeah, for the Street 95 one. So actually, I'm very tempted to select that one. But in the long run, if I want to have a long-term investment, stay there for a good time, right? Then I'll go for the west side, because that one is totally like a new area. So that one is something like Punggol.
it's like blind box, is it?
Yeah, exactly. so it's something like Punggol today. Like, I mean, back then actually people also don't want to go into Punggol. They will say like, wow, Punggol so far away, like nothing inside. But look
Yeah.
at how is Punggol performing
It will
right
take
now.
a few years' time to.
Yeah, a longer term.
So I guess it depends on the horizon you have for this investment horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because not all ECs owners actually want to sell after 5 years.
Yes.
Some of them they actually prefer to stay more than 5 years.
Exactly.
So if we bring this whole comparison of the new launch ECs to watch, right, back to 100 pumps, which we discussed earlier, do you all think the performance is going to be like 100 pumps going few units, or maybe one unit is going to breach the $1 million mark profit margin?
Okay, I think breaking the 1 million mark, the profit margin should be able to. Okay, but whether can they double it? That's another question.
Yeah, for me, I think that for Tenet, easily I am quite confident I can put my money there to say that it's 100%.
You must be a buyer there.
It's 100% you
buyer
can
there?
actually already make more than that. But for other new upcoming projects, it will really depends on the new land bidding price, because
Yes.
that will actually force in the long run to see that if we actually
Yeah.
compare all the prices, the launches price,
Correct.
yeah, so that will actually factor in.
Because if they can buy at 1,008 today, and then next time when they sell, that means 3,006 to make it double.
Exactly.
Right? And then at Tampines, I think a bit of far-fetched. So double, I'm not very confident. As in double the profit. But making the $1 million mark, I think
Or even
possible.
close to it.
Possible.
Yeah,
I
because
think
back to
it's
the
very
same
possible.
thing when we discussed, back to the previous 100 pounds which we discussed how unique it is.
Yes.
I think this particular executive condo stands out
Yes.
from the ones that we mentioned, the upcoming ones, because some are in new townships. You see a
Yeah.
couple of ECs around the same area, but 100 pumps is the only one that is there. and right around it are
Yes.
just amenities,
Yeah,
older HDB
yeah.
blocks and
School.
private condos and schools.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the
Scarcity
one and
factor.
only. Like
Yeah,
what Phoebe
scarcity
mentioned, it's the
factor.
one and only scarcity.
Yes.
And usually scarcity is where it drives the demand.
Demand.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly, yeah.
Agree. Thank you for watching to the end. If you like this episode, feel free to comment and give us a like and share. If you have any further questions, do DM us or leave your comments below. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.